Hey everyone, it's 6 o'clock on Tuesday, January 2nd, 2024. This is Public Works, Properties, and Sustainability Committee meeting, and call to order. And we have a quorum in the room, and we have a few more attendees on Zoom. Visual roll call okay, Kristen? Yes. Great, thank you. And the agenda was properly posted? Perfect, thank you so much. Then we can move on to item 3, public appearances, public's opportunity to speak about any subject that is not a specific agenda item. Do we have any items that are not on the agenda anyone would like to speak to? Okay, hearing none, then we'll move on to item 4, old business. Presentation of Solar Edge for solar panels for the Municipal Services Building. This is exciting. Oh, you got your mic. Yep.
I'm still on vacation. Let's see, 4, 5 years maybe since it was first brought up, but there it is. We are making power on top of the Municipal Services Building. This is really cool, actually. A little dashboard that we can check. Unfortunately, John and I were just talking about how it's almost been unprecedented with the cloud cover, but you can see when the sun pokes through, and it is kind of cool how they, just the CO2 emission, the pound saved, the equivalent trees, just kind of some cool things. Now we just have to figure out a way to share this in appropriate amount and just make people aware. And so really, that's really all I had prepared, was to show this dashboard, and then we can answer any questions. Final walkthrough from Strand is sometime this week. I just let them know they can just come on over during business hours and check it out. But as far as we can tell, everything's up and running beautifully.
Do these go to a battery bank then? Are they charging rack of batteries?
No. Right? Making sure I was looking at, no, there was not.
Generates and usage.
Yep. Yeah. And basically with the PD and everything, I think we're using it all the time anyway. The building's kind of 24/7, so
oh yeah, right.
It's not going to waste ever.
It's very exciting. Additional questions? Well, it's been a long time coming, and I appreciate all the work that's gone into it, and it's really cool to see that we're finally on the board after all the plannings, discussions, back to when Nick was chairing our ad hoc sustainability committee meeting. It's been in the works for a long time, so it's really great to see. And maybe we can put something in the community guide.
Yep.
Now that
Yep.
I remember that I was asked about some sustainability stuff we might want to have in that, so
Yep.
be good.
And I was gonna maybe pick your brain. We could somehow do a little more of a ceremony or showing it off with kind of an Earth Day event or something this year. The timing with the project didn't really work out very well for showing it off, so.
Right. Yeah, that'd be great, because I think the Friends will probably do their Earth Day event again, so maybe we can somehow tie it in. It'd be cool. Thanks, JJ.
JJ, a quick question.
Yep.
Do we still have the 3 meters going to that building? Is there any plans to consolidate?
Nick, you always ask hard questions. Yes. Yep, we do. And when we began this process, we did think that maybe in the near term, that building would be going under construction for more of a long-term solution facility-wise. That has since changed. So now most likely we'll have to think a little longer term about, as we make kind of incremental changes to the building, when does it make sense to tie all that together? So yes, long story, it's, yeah.
I'm thinking about it. Maybe this is true, maybe this is not, but is the power from this solar panel array going to one port, not all 3? Is that correct?
It's going to the one, though, that essentially powers most of our facility. Basically all of the Public Works, Parks, and PD side and the garage. So it's going to the one that's using the most.
Okay. No, yeah, I mean,
But
I think that makes sense. I think just it's this is all kind of small things, but long term to get it powering all the circuits, I think that would be beneficial. I think it was sized to cover the entire like full usage of the building. Um, but because the way solar works, that it's peaking during the day and not so much in the wintertime, we might be overproducing for this one circuit, and the payback from Alliant is pennies on the kilowatt. And so to maximize usage, is trying to use it as we can. And this is again probably years down the road, but just thinking about battery power because that's another way of actually using it during nighttime and during off hours. It just I remember from the committee, the previous committee, it was all about efficiency. And even though we're making a ton of power, if we're just selling it back to Alliant for cheap, it's not actually benefiting us. So just making sure we're being efficient with it.
nope, absolutely. And you just kind of reminded me that we do need to restart that conversation with the very recent pivot away from a facility upgrade. So that'll be part of that conversation for sure.
This is excellent, so thank you.
So we have currently 3 meters?
3 electric, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And obviously we want to drill that down to 1 or 2 or, I mean,
Look-
we're paying for each meter location.
Oh, yes. High level, 5 years ago, basically just talked to some electricians, what's it cost to
Yeah.
get us onto 1? It's expensive.
Okay.
And then we started talking that this site might be the campus site for future years. And so that was kind of a back burner project, and I thought that'll be the perfect time to tackle that.
Yeah.
Now that's just very recently, we're probably moving away from
Okay.
that. So now we gotta kind of rethink about when it makes sense to tie it all in.
Right.
one.
Okay.
The other place we have solar panels is on the new small shelter at the pickleball and tennis courts. So that might be something to tie in with, I'm not sure if that one's operational yet. I mean, those lights aren't, it's basically because we have all the lights at the courts and that'll help offset that usage. But if we're doing a shout out about solar in the village in the community guide, that might be good to mention too.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Other questions on the
Is there-
atmosphere? Yeah, go ahead.
Is there appetite for future solar panels in other buildings? Whether I know parks talked about it a little bit, but even putting them on some of the well buildings, like the one on Vilas has a south facing well. There's no way you could cover all of that usage, but it's also just you're offsetting some of it. If this does work out well and there's appetite for more, we could use this as an example. Maybe we could do more in the future. But just, again, keeping it on everyone's radar, I think, is the most important thing.
Absolutely. I think it's a consideration anytime we're looking at any facility project for sure. Not necessarily standalone. I don't know that we've discussed it on those smaller locations, but anytime we're doing any kind of an upgrade anywhere, for sure, it's a consideration.
I think there was funds available for communities that were doing solar, like nonprofit groups, because they don't pay into tax. So I'm not sure if that's probably a Cameron and finance areas question, if this qualifies. And then I know that if you have money flagged for something, you borrowed money for it, you have to use it for that designation. So, to continue to invest in kind of thing might be interesting, but I'm not sure how that works with the incentive, I could say, or it's not a tax credit, but I remember
Yep.
seeing that local governments are eligible for things now.
I remember having the conversation with Cameron about this one after it kicked off. I think the timing, like you said, since we did the borrowing, I think that precluded us from that particular one, but we can talk about it.
Yeah, because, paying for stuff's always a challenge, but when you can get some kind of matching funds or something back, that's always good.
Okay, I'm pulling things from the deep recesses of my brain from the last committee now, but we talked about Alliant having a substation in the village or closer to the village that could possibly facilitate some larger solar array structures. Do you remember anything about that, JJ, or any updates? John, I know John was talking about that a lot.
There's a substation that's needed. We actually have a meeting in a week and a half. That's totally separate from any solar project they may have going on. There was a big farm. There was a few of them. I'm not sure if they've got any more planned. I know they've installed.
I thought it was more like this substation was, if there was anything gonna happen in the area, this substation had to happen first. So I was just inquiring. That was a few years ago we were talking about it. So, okay.
Well, we're having an update from Alliant on the substation progress here soon. So maybe I'll hear some more.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions on the MSB project? All right, hearing none, then we can move on to the update on the street lighting on Clark and Grove Streets.
I guess the update with that is they started today and we already have lights, so they can cruise right along, I guess, if they're asked to. So, obviously there's some spring restoration work that's gonna have to be done, and we'll help facilitate getting at least manageable until spring. If there's some piles or holes or something throughout the next few weeks, we'll kind of look at that and kind of take care of that. But otherwise, it's up and running, I was told, so. Yep.
That's great. Is all the work on our property, or is on any neighboring private property? Just for the restoration piece, I just want.
Sure, yeah, it's all on village property.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, sounds good. Thank you. That's great. Questions on street lighting project? All right, then we'll keep moving right along. Update on lighting for the Glacial Drumlin Trail parking lot.
Sure, so, there's not really much to talk about. I just want to kind of keep this, something that we're kind of thinking about, or in case there's questions from residents or anything else. So ultimately, just a little summary, we're still in the process of looking into some sort of lighting down there. There's kind of a drastic difference. What I have found is, Alliance aggregate street lights are, we can probably do that for 10 grand. We can do our black decorative ones for four times that. So, I'm assuming we're gonna be leaning more towards a more cost-effective option there when this time happens. Depending on what happens this year with street projects and stuff, there might be some funds that we can push towards that and kind of get that moving. But ultimately, it's not truly budgeted money. So at the very least, we'll keep looking at options and get it on a list to budget for 2025.
Thanks, John. I hope we don't have to use contingency funds, so that's always a good thing. Any questions on the trailhead lighting project? All right. We don't have any new business unless there's something I'm missing. No, we're good. Okay. Then we'll keep moving on to engineers report.
Make sure you didn't hop on. I talked to Josh earlier and said we didn't need him tonight. We did get some news from Strand. I think we can share now officially. Kyla has accepted a role with another firm, so we won't be working with Kyla anymore. Josh, sounds like he made the rounds and called everybody he didn't see in the office and talked us all off the ledge and said they've got a deep bench and they're looking forward to getting us somebody else brought up to speed. So that said, if there's any questions on their report, I would say the biggest piece is the street and parking lot rehab work that they're getting ready for our street work and the parking lot reconstructions this year. We're hoping to be out for bid as one of the first ones this year. So we'll have to touch base with Josh and see where we stand on that. But
Yeah, I hope we can get that rolling fast because we'll have a lot of traffic in this lot for elections this year, and getting that MSB accessible in the back is something I'm really excited about. So.
Yep.
All right. Any questions on the engineer's report? And if you do talk to Kyla, somehow through something, wish her well in her new role. Maybe we'll run into her again someday on something. Whoever has her next, working for them is lucky to have her.
Absolutely.
Any other questions on the engineer's report?
The Shady Grove seems like that's been going on forever. And usually developers want to close those out ASAP. Is that, it looks like spring of '24. Is that sounding realistic then? I don't know what left there is to do, but
It's probably more closer to summer. They're adding those sewer and water laterals on Bus
Oh.
and on that
Oh.
Glacial Drumlin. Or is that that street? I believe. Anyways, there's some added duplexes getting put in there. So for the majority of the subdivision is done. They're just waiting on, in the spring or late winter, early spring, they're gonna dig in those other services. So those two stretches are the only two stretches that still have binder, because of that work that needs to be done. So for the most part, it's substantially completed.
okay.
I guess since you mentioned Shady Grove, the boulevard on Bus, is that like the finished product?
Oh, you guys and your good questions tonight. Per their developers agreement and the agreement that was reached with them when they kind of came back with their new iteration, yes. Internally with staff, we've been having conversations about incorporating a revised long-term vision for Bus Road. Prior, a long time ago, when Mike Maloney was here, originally, it was gonna be 4-lane boulevard. Strand's taking a fresh look at it. We've had a lot of new staff, and holistically, even in complete build-out decades into the future, we don't anticipate that'll need 4 lanes. So moving forward, most likely we're gonna look for, as Bus Road's improved up, as Hamburg gets further to the west, we're looking for more of a 2-lane boulevard, but with the right-of-way and the ability to expand fairly simply, 50 years from now if we have to. That said, given the agreement that was reached with Shady Grove to kind of scale back theirs with what's out there, would probably be a relatively small village project to finish that with some curb and gutter and more finished look to that.
Yeah, I can see like the green eco side of having like more of a drainage and help infiltrate water, but it also looks like it would be very difficult to maintain that and have it look nice because you just get gravel washing into there, and
Yeah.
it just, I mean, it looks unfinished. So
Yeah.
if that's on our radar, I'm glad that we can keep that on our radar because
Yeah.
we want it, we're responsible for maintaining it, and we also want it to look nice. It's
Yeah,
into the
it'll
neighborhood, yeah.
certainly, once all those houses are built out, it'll,
Yeah.
and we could get that kind of established. Currently, it's a parking spot, right, for contractors, so it's kind of a mess.
Yeah, and hard to maintain then if you have, once you get melting and thawing and
Yes. Yeah.
and people are using it to park on, and then how do you get the snow plow through without scraping everything out? Yeah, it's, so yeah, as we think about the other side of Bus, yeah, that's good that we're keeping that in mind too. It's nice because you have the room to expand and have turn lanes, and that helps with the flow of traffic to have that space available, but yeah.
I think we're all, at least internally, we came to a nice solid conclusion within the last couple weeks, honestly, to communicate with future developers and their engineers as to what we're gonna wanna see when the time's right. So I think we've got a grasp on the whole corridor moving forward. But yeah, that little piece needs to be tidied up.
Sounds good. All right, any other questions on engineer's report? All right, then we'll keep moving on to director's report. So John, will turn it over to you.
Nothing too exciting this time of year with the holidays and stuff, but we are in the process of hiring a replacement for a person that had left the village, and the public works technician. Potentially is gonna start January 16th, so then we'll be back to full staff. Hopefully that all works out. It's the time of year where you really wanna have full staff, so, we're all, part of that engineering report, we're also part of this street project, 2024 street rehab project as well. So we've been kind of going around and assessing curb and driveway aprons and sidewalk to try to make sure we encompass as much as we can into this project. So we've been going around and doing some inspections and other parts for that project. We've also, it's been nice, so we've been out, cleaning inlets and doing a lot of like projects that normally we don't get to do this time of year. It's been great to kind of get out and you know, we were sweeping streets in December, which I don't know if I've ever seen that. So it's pretty crazy. So it's been great to get, we got a lot done in December, which was really nice. So, next week we'll be starting our Christmas holiday tree pickup. So that'll be, you know, we always like to pick up all the trees in the next week, but we all know that it's pretty much a every week project for the next month or so to pick up anything before it snows and make sure we don't bury anything and kind of, so that's kind of our, a day a week or so running around doing that for the next month or so. But that's really all I have for director's report tonight.
Great, thanks, John. Any questions on director's report? I noticed the street sweeper out, and I was like, hey, that's cool, we're getting our streets nice and tidied up, so, but yeah, weird that December you can have the street sweeper out. All right, if there aren't any questions, then we have some business to attend to. Item 8 is approve the minutes of the December 5th, 2023 Public Works, Properties, and Sustainability Committee meeting. Are there any edits, comments, or approval?
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and second to approve the minutes. Any other comments? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carries. Then we have set tentative date for the next meeting. So the first Tuesday of February is the 6th. Does that look like a date that we can make a quorum work? All right. The 6th at 6. Any future agenda items? We'll have some of that regular stuff coming back, maybe more information on the streets projects. Anyone else have any items to add? All right. I guess then, hearing nothing else, we have one item left.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn, non-debatable. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thanks so much, everyone. Happy New Year. See you next month.